Michelle Hurd. Please welcome Jerry Ryan. Please welcome Gates McFadden. Please welcome Jonathan Frakes. And ladies and gentlemen, all rise. Give it up for Sir Patrick Stewart.
Look out.
We got you.
Where am I going?
Whoa! He's been through worse.
That was all acting, by the way.
You never know what a director is looking for, and as I know there are some of you here,
I do unsteadiness very well. But I'm not unsteady.
So, first of all, now it is seriously, I just like I said at the top
Seriously?
of this seriously, Jonathan.
Oh, God.
At the top of this
I
conversation,
hate when we start with that.
I described season 3 of Star Trek PICARD as not just one of the very best seasons of Star Trek, and that's a bold statement. But
Seriously.
Seriously, one of the very best seasons of just television history. And now that some time has passed since the series dropped on Paramount Plus and since the finale aired, like, what are some of the new feelings that you feel about this final season now that you've had some time to kind of like simmer on it all?
you're asking me.
Can we take that one?
It's well over a year since
Exactly.
the airing of season 3 came to an end, and I think the season 3 was, I think for most of us, the true climax of the series that we had been doing, and it ended in exactly the right way, with the right spirit and the right mood. But I hope it's not over.
Yes!
Yes.
Nice tease. Very nice tease. Seriously.
Seriously. Jonathan, it wasn't just that you're picking up where you left off, which was 2002, really, other than, what you did in season 2. It's that your re-entry into playing Riker, and this goes for you, Gates, and definitely for Jerry with 7, completely different, is that you're playing characters that are so different from when you last played them. So instead of your point of connection with playing Riker, what was your re-entry point? Because there's something familiar about him, and he's also just very, very different from 2002. Seriously.
He's older. He's wiser.
Exactly.
Thanks to Terry Metalis, he's got more interesting things to say than he ever had before. And I must say, I got to throw Patrick Stewart off the fucking bridge, which was, that alone was a thrill. It wasn't really Patrick, but it felt like it almost was. It was Picard.
It was me. Who did
It was you, but I was pretending. I was acting like it was Riker talking to Picard, but it was really you.
You're not a pretender, Jonathan. You're an artist. You're not making it up. It's real. It's always been real.
Oh, I don't look back.
Don't worry.
Okay.
Where is Metalis?
Yeah, he wasn't invited.
There he is. He's right over there.
Hi, Terry.
Terry Metalis.
Terry
Terry Metalis, ladies and gentlemen.
Answer these fucking questions.
Seriously.
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 How was that answer?
That was a good, serious answer.
Okay.
Yes. Gates,
Yes.
tell us about, speaking of Terry Metalis, your first conversations that you had with Terry with regards to, picking Crusher back up, but different, and really a role, a challenge, a performance that you never got to do during the heyday?
Well, just meeting Terry, I liked him immediately. He was a fan of the show. He knew more about Star Trek and our show than I did, of course. And it was just a fantastic idea to have her what a loss. She's left the ship that she's been part of, the crew, and he really explained it in a beautiful way. I think the fact that I had a son with somebody, it really was a challenge, but it was a really great challenge, and I loved the fact that he had me right away in action. He talked about her being very fierce, protecting, making choices that were going to make Picard angry, but in the end, Crusher was right. What can I tell you? He would have been dead long ago. So it was so much fun, and it was perfect because just running into the cast again, but we're all in our spacesuits again, and well, I wasn't quite in my spacesuit, but almost by the end, and I loved it. It was just a dream, and I loved working with these two women very much, very much. Awesome.
So now here's the thing. So to be here, to be having a conversation with actors, and Jerry Ryan, Michelle Hurd, out there on the front lines, fighting the fight for actors. Give it up, because they did not settle. Jerry out there 110 degree heat every freaking day, showing the front lines. So thank you for making it possible for us to be here having this conversation. And Jerry, to bring Seven back in a completely different way. I mean, this was like, why was this an actor's dream for Seven, especially in season 3 of Picard?
Oh my God. Okay, I'm stuck. Oh, there we are. Fine. That's graceful. This character from the beginning was a gift for an actor because she didn't even start out human. She had to learn everything about humanity. So to come back this many years later, and she's so vastly different physically, different vocally, just different in every way, was scary and exciting and just such a fun acting challenge from the get-go. But I loved finding her and finding her resilience and her strength and everything that she's been through, and seeing where she ends up at the end of season 3 was so, I thought, beautiful and right and honest, and it was pretty cool. It was pretty fulfilling.
It is extremely cool. You don't know what those words were when she took the Enterprise out. I hope you find out one of these days. Now, Michelle, all along with seasons 1 and 2, Rafi, she evolved, and then in season 3, she spends the first part of the season with Michael, with Dorn,
Michael Dorn.
Let's talk about, because you spent so much time with him, how did that give you a new appreciation for playing Rafi? Because you were exploring a side of her that you didn't get to do in the first 2 seasons.
Yeah, but I have to say, I feel like I won the lottery. If you think about my first season, I get to work with Sir Patrick Stewart. My very first scene shooting was with this man, and I tried to be so cool and calm, and I was shaking every single part of my body. I could hear my knees going, and he did every single thing to calm me and to welcome me and to embrace me into this world. And to say at this day that Sir Patrick Stewart is my friend is, monumental. And it means a lot to me. Second season, I get to work with Jerry Ryan. I was like, wow, it's again my birthday. This is amazing. And then the third season, Michael Dorn.
Kind of a letdown. mean, let's be frank.
This right here, this is really what we had the entire time. This humor, this love, this shameless, unbridled humor. I mean, this is what these guys created. It's why the world of Star Trek has lived on for so long. It's because there is true love and support and camaraderie and inclusivity, and to the fact that I, just kind of am invited in, and that Terry Mattel has created such an amazing arc for me to do in my last season, to be so kick-ass and strong and to not be afraid to make a strong woman. I just so appreciate it. To be a part of this, it's meant a lot, and it will mean a lot for the rest of my life. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
You know what, Michelle? To go back to seriously for a moment, which I may, and the only reason I can say that about Dorn is you made Dorn better than he ever was. And we've said that publicly, privately. His work was better. He was better on the set. He was better prepared. He played with more nuance, and it was because of you. So thank you.
All of you.
Patrick, so, you filmed seasons 2 and 3 back to back, but they were two fundamentally different seasons. So when, so many of the cast members came into season 3 and they were fresh, like, Rena and Michael and LeVar, and you just finished a whole season on a Friday, and then you start a whole new season on a Monday. How hard was that?
In fact, I think we wrapped season 2 in the middle of the week.
Yeah.
And we did, didn't we?
Yeah.
And it wasn't Friday with a weekend off. No, we wrapped at 8 o'clock on a Monday, Tuesday night, and we started at 7 o'clock the next morning.
Totally new season.
And that was 20 episodes we shot. It was hard work, but the one thing that has been significant about this group of people, and by that I mean our writers, our producers, our stage crew, everyone involved with it. We were an ensemble. I would always very reluctantly ever give in to, you're the captain and you're the senior person in all of this. The only reason that I had to be that was that I was the oldest person. Mind you, they are catching up.
I noticed that.
Terry Matala should be up here because Terry, for me, because he will remember in detail my unease when PICARD was first offered to me, and yet he brought into it an element of creativity and invention and respect too, which made, I think, for each one of us, the whole thing to be an interesting, unusual, and challenging experience.
All of you, I mean, especially Seven, but for all of you, I mean, to see Riker and Picard, have to defer.
He was such a dick in the first scene.
Sure was. That scene.
But that War 359 speech that he delivers in the bar about him.
Masterclass.
Yeah, that was spectacular.
Yeah.
And each take was a little bit different, and he's a very
But
special
I mean,
actor.
the writing too, and also Ed Spaliers. I mean, I think it was just great to have every new cast member in that season. It just
Elevated it.
It did. They were all right on the money. But I think when you have like the characters who were younger, and then the characters of us who are old fogies here, but it was the fact that we really interacted well, that we loved each other, that we had a connection, and just as people as well as characters, and that was terrific, and that really is Terry. It was fantastic. When you have good writing, you can bring yourself into a role.
Listen, to bring up Todd, I'm so glad you brought him up.
I think that those 20 years of no Star Trek in my life, apart from those comments in the street and every day, which I relish. Love your show. Make it so. It brings me so much pleasure. But it has been the community feeling of this show from the very beginning. And that doesn't matter if you were a character with only half a dozen lines. You were part of the company. And that was something which all of us felt and we all insisted on. And it made such a difference because there is this communication. Something I think that's in the book that
You wrote a book?
He has a book. Do you guys know he has a
No.
book? Yes.
No, I didn't write it. No, I imagined it. But there was a long story about my relationship with a very famous American star actor who I had admired since I was 13. His name was Rod Steiger. And we only did half a day of working together on the first movie I ever made called Hennessy. And then there was a big row, something happened that went wrong and he blew up and then he said to me, "What are you doing for lunch?" And I said, I don't know, what do you do for lunch? This is my first time on a set. And he said, "Look, okay, over there's the trailer, you get your food there, that's my trailer, bring it to me, have lunch with me." So I went in and we talked, and he was so patient, and he let me bombard questions at him about Marlon Brando, about Eva Marie Saints, about all these people that he'd worked with. And right at the end of that meeting, he said, "Just one thing, Patrick. Remember, the camera photographs thoughts."
Nothing like that.
Nothing like that had ever been said to me before. But it was such a mind-blowing moment that all you had to do was think. And that's what he and these other actors that I'd seen him working with had been doing. They'd been thinking all the time. And it was the thinking that made them so stand out on the screen.
You filmed a 26-episode season, first 7 seasons, okay, except the second season. But when it was over, you didn't have that like, wow, it's over, because you went right into filming the first feature, Generations. But this time, with season 3 of PICARD, like, that was it. So what was it like for you at the end of filming 3 seasons of PICARD, 2 of them back to back, and the finality of being with these people that you had been with since 1987? How satisfied were you?
When Next Generation wrapped the final day of filming, we had visitors on the set almost from the first call that morning. A multitude of them. Very many important filmmaker people, a lot of the executives of Paramount came because the word was they're shooting the final day of Next Generation. Well, we didn't wrap that day's work until after 11 o'clock. And the last scene was me with John. Delancey, yes. And everyone had gone. There was just the crew and the 2 of us and the director, and John and myself. And at first I was disappointed that there wasn't going to be a huge studio rattling cheer when they said, "And that's a wrap." Not at all. It ended very quietly, and there was little applause and people holding hands and having a hug and so forth. It was all very quiet. We made up for that on the last day of PICARD, when it was much rowdier and we had a celebration. But if I can also contribute to what was it like going onto the bridge of the Enterprise all those years afterwards. I was shooting another scene in another set, then they fell behind or something, and I had half an hour and I was not going to be used. So I thought, because I deliberately stayed away from the construction, I'm going to go in and see if the door was open to the stage, and there was nobody there. It was completely empty. So I walked onto the bridge alone on the stage. And I was utterly unprepared for the emotion and the recollections that overwhelmed me at that time. Because those people that I had shared the bridge with all those years, and the years that had passed thence, are like family to me. It's a family that I wish I could have had all my life, because it gave me so much hope, optimism, support, and fun. Do you remember we were all there to have fun?
On behalf of everyone in this room, on behalf of everyone who has watched all 3 seasons of PICARD, on behalf of everyone who has been with this Next Generation crew since 1987, thank you for being our family. Thank you, everybody. Star Trek PICARD is streaming now on Paramount Plus, and absolutely, if you haven't seen season 3 again, now is the time to rewatch. Big thanks to this amazing panel. Thank you, Michelle, Jerry, Kate.